A new report says Britain's non-white population is set to more than double, making up around 1 in 3 people by 2050. The report by the centre-right think tank Policy Exchange also finds that those from an ethnic minority background are far more likely to see themselves as British than the white population. Paul Mason reports from the Bengali community of East London.
Whitechapel in East London is home to a large Bangladeshi community. By 2050, says a report today, 1/3 of the British people will be from ethnic minorities, with the black African and Bangladeshi populations among the fastest growing. Figures like this are apt to make some people come over old Jeremy Clarkson. But the amazing thing about today's report is that it shows people from ethnic minorities are 4 times more likely than white people to identify themselves as British. The survey by centre-right think tank Policy Exchange records 71% of Bangladeshis saying they are purely British, but only 14% of white Britons identifying as purely British. 64% of them say they are purely English.
Well, I'm joined now by Sanyajit Tandi, the student and former chair of UKIP's Youth Party, and wach, a writer and performer based in London's Camden. Sanyajit, I mean, how surprised are you by this, that ethnic minorities are much more likely to identify themselves as British?
I think it's actually quite surprising. I mean, I was born in the UK and my parents come from India. They were born there, as were my grandparents, who actually were the ones that came over in the first place back in the 50s. So despite the fact I was born here and educated here, I still feel very Indian. And I actually think that you can be kind of like a foreigner and have a different culture, yet kind of live in harmony with British people and what it is to be British.
But yet you don't define yourself as English?
No, I think there are distinct cultural differences between obviously being Indian and being English or British. And on the one hand, I can appreciate everything that is British and English, but also I feel I identify more closely with being Indian.
But Indian and British, but specifically not English. Well, what are you uncomfortable about in terms of a definition of Englishness?
I think it's probably more the fact that when economic migrants leave their homelands, they kind of obviously miss home. They've come to an alien country to better their lives, but obviously they do want to hold on to what it is to be like at home. So in that sense, they do hold on to culture quite strongly. So I think I've probably just inherited that off my parents, off my grandparents.
wach, I mean, what is your view? Were you surprised by today's findings in this report?
Not really. White British people who live in England feel more English. That's because they're regionally from here. They have a regional link to the area.
But I mean, why not define themselves as British? I mean, do you think that these say something different about us, Britishness and Englishness?
Well, all right. Why do white English people not see themselves as British? I can't answer that. But why do more ethnic minorities feel British rather than English? For example, young Muslims. I mean, I'm Muslim. I don't see myself as British in any way, or English. But some people may see themselves as British rather than English if they grew up here because of the St George's Cross.
But I mean, mostly you did grow up here, didn't you?
And the link that has with the Crusades. So young Muslim people aren't going to feel confident putting on that England jersey.
So why do you feel uncomfortable with both, if you like, given that you grew up here?
Me. So I'm African. I'm from Eritrea. Britain tore my country apart. It tore my continent apart. It tore the rest of the world up for quite a long time.
But it enabled your family to come here and seek refuge, presumably?
But we came here because of what? Because of the condition that Britain left my country in. That's why I'm here.
So you feel uncomfortable with your Britishness, whether you like your British passport?
There's a British passport, yeah, I feel completely uncomfortable with it, and I feel ashamed and it hurts. And when someone gives me a form and says, what do you want to put on it, black African or black British, and if they prompt black British, I feel really, really upset. Like, it really hurts.
And what do you feel about that, Tandy? What would UKIP say about that?
I'm not sure what UKIP would say as a party, but as an individual, the way I see it, like, I've been brought up in the UK, in the southeast, and I've been in London since I was 16. And I love the fact that it's like a very multicultural place. I love the fact that everybody all like. I went to really international schools and stuff. And you
Many
can all
people
kind of
will find that sits uneasily with your membership of, and support of UKIP.
Well, no, actually, in terms of the immigration policy that UKIP holds, in terms of the actual effects that it would incur, okay, so it would actually mean there were more equal immigration opportunities for people across the whole world, whereas currently it is actually currently the immigration policy that is in place means that only European people get preference, which as an Indian and as I'm sure many other Indians and many other
the
people
party's made
that
up of
are
racists.
economic
It's made up of people, a lot of racist, xenophobic people, people who would just about want to be fascist. Those are supporters of UKIP, and people who are just a little bit. Maybe they don't see that many ethnic minorities. Maybe they're from small towns. I don't know.
As mentioned
but they're
earlier,
not.
I'm a
but it's not.
UKIP activist.
I know.
And
But if we're going to talk about
UKIP,
we'll talk about
it would mean that it was equal and fairer for the whole world, as opposed to just a certain people that are the European people.
I mean, is that the point about Britishness, if you like? I mean, the report author said in the piece, we've become very good at diversity. We've become very good at integration.
Black people still get shot in this country by the police because I can't go anywhere without getting stop and search. Like, it's harder for us to get jobs. If we're talking about the unemployment rate, we'll talk about the youth unemployment rate, and then let's talk about the black youth unemployment rate, and it's nearly at 50%.
What for you is the difficulty, though, in terms of...
in identifying myself being British?
In a country which is, you've grown up here, you were accepted here, there'll be many people who'll be offended by what you say.
No, but this country owes the rest of the world anything it wants. Because of what it's done.
I disagree because who will be funding that? The taxpayers, and it's not their fault for previous...
No, it is. It doesn't matter.
Do you accept that there will be many people who still find the idea of identifying themselves as British, if they're ethnic minorities, as Awate says, that something that's offensive? That...
No, not at all. The way I see it, the definition of Britishness is being redefined. Okay, so London in particular and the South East are... you know, like a playground for like the whole world. It's in the centre of the world. Financially and economically, it's also the centre, meaning that obviously the rest of the world is going to come.
End it there. I'm really sorry. Thank you very much, both of you, for joining us.